I want to talk a little bit about things that will make you successful. One of the things is to stay focused. Most entrepreneurs have many ideas, and that's great, but it's important that you stay focused on one idea and carry that through to the end. When I was married, my ex-wife always told me I had ADD. And I kept refusing her. I kept saying, I do not. So one day I agreed that I would go to this clinic who did ADD testing, and they were the best in the Philadelphia area. So I took the test, and I was a little surprised. I'm a very competitive guy, but I was a little surprised that I came in first. And I said, what do you mean I came in first? Well, they said that I had scored the highest of any adult that had ever taken the test before. So I don't wear that as a badge of honor, but I do think it's a little humorous. So clearly I've had ADD for a long time. However, I was able to come up with different techniques to help me combat that. So for example, one of the things was in the company that I ran, I had the cleanest desk. I only had 3 things on my desk at any one time. I'm talking about business things. Obviously I had my computer, my phone, and those things, but for business, I only had 3 things, and they were my top 3 priorities. It was difficult for me, unfortunately, to work on one until closure. That's why I had 3 of them out, because I would only work on those 3. And then once I finished number 1, then I took up the 4th one and I put that on my desk. So I never had more than 3 things to do on my desk. So for example, once I started my first business, I had these huge, big ideas about what we were going to do with it, how big it was going to get, how global we would be, all of those things. And I quickly learned that because I had those huge ideas, and you have to remember I was coming from a public company where I had a ton of support, where people were telling me what we had to do and those kinds of things. Now I was doing every single activity in that business. And it's important to remain focused with those big ideas. You can still work towards those, but use those as your Northern Star. Stay focused on what you got to get done today, tomorrow, next week, not in 10 years. You also have to embrace failure. Everybody fails, but what's important is that you learn from those failures and you incorporate that into your process the next time so you don't recur those errors. Some of the best business lessons you will learn will come from your failures. Another one is helping other people. It's critically important that you do help other people. People will really focus on someone who is a real team player. Business is about teamwork, and you have to relate to other people. Working in a team and supporting another team member is critically important. So is giving success to other people, particularly if it's not your own. But even sometimes when it was mine, I gave the credit to other people. It's important that people understand and know that you're willing to share that success. None of us create that success on our own. We do it together as a team. You will always in business have to relate to people. So for example, the only thing that can combat a contract is a relationship you have with someone. I remember a big client of ours, Kraft. They represented at one time maybe 20% of our business, and we had a real issue. So I met with the vice president of maintenance, who was our primary customer, and he and I had a great relationship, thank goodness. And then what we did is we said, let's take a look at the contract and look at those areas that did not really support both companies. And then we changed that contract. So your relationships with others is critically important. The other thing is it's important to surround yourself with better people, smarter people, great people. If you surround yourself with the best people, your performance will exponentially improve. So for example, at that public company I ran, we replaced nearly the entire staff, but the upgrade that we created in that process was huge. And in fact, my boss at the time, Bill, said it's a shame we didn't have this staff in a couple of years ago, because then we would never have sold the business. Surrounding yourself with the best people and the smartest people is always a winning combination. As with most things, there's no one secret sauce. So what you want to do is apply those things the way that you know that you work the best. So taking these tips and understanding them help you, but don't follow somebody else's plan exactly. Find out what works for you and then do those things and you will be successful.